Hey guys, Blocky T here, and today we're doing a Hades tutorial. Yes, that's right. I've been playing Hades for a long time, ever since I started playing the game, and I've been meaning to do a tutorial on it for a while. I tried to do the absolute best job I could on this. My last tutorials have been lacking, so here we go. Hades, King of the Underworld. Now just real quick, I'm going to go over his abilities first, but just before we do that, just real quick, Hades is classified as a support tank. He's more of a tank than anything. He's got support in his tag. He's got an AoE heal on his 3 that can heal allies. But he's really more of a tank than anything. Though you can build him as anything you want. In general, he acts on a spectrum from pure tank to pure magical bruiser, and we'll go over that later. But just so you guys know. Now, alright, his first ability, and the one I like to get first, is called Death from Below. When activated, Hades will do an underground leap, as I'm about to show you. Now, this is a very useful move. It's his escape and his initiate, so you gotta be careful with it. If you rush up there and they stun lock you, well, you have no way to get out. It doesn't do a lot of damage. At max rank, it only does 210, plus 70% of your magical power, which can get pretty high, but at the same time, that's still not a lot. However, when coupled with his passive Blight, it can have some very useful effects. Now, I really should have gone over his passive first, but if you guys will look at this purple cloud surrounding the archers here, that's called Blight. It lasts 5 seconds and can be refreshed, and when the enemy is affected by Blight, each of my abilities will have a special effect. On my Death from Below, well, I can still show you. On Death from Below, enemies will be applied as slow. It starts at 20%, and at each rank it increases to 40%. So that's a pretty big thing. That's a pretty large 40% is a pretty large slow. It's very useful, especially when you're chasing somebody, and it works really well. So yeah, and this move actually applies Blight, but if they're already blighted when you hit them with this, they'll be slowed for 2 seconds. It's a pretty useful. Especially if you're chasing somebody, like, you've blighted them and then they're getting away, you can just dig right up there and get them. In his one, it doesn't look like it, but it functions exactly as a leap. Like, let's see, I can go through walls. Yeah, see, look at that. Now I'm in the raw arena. It's a very useful ability. The only thing is, it's his escape and initiate, so if you rush up there and get stun locked, you don't really have a way to get out. But if you're doing that, you're hopefully a tank. So, yeah, it's pretty useful. It's generally what you start all of your combos with. It's the first half of your wave clear combo, because it applies Blight, what you need for your 3. But we'll get to that later. That's about everything for his 1. Let's move on to his 2. That is called Shroud of Darkness, and this move is really what makes him a tank. It's a silence. It starts at 1 second, it goes up to 2 seconds. It increases 0.25 seconds with each rank, which, somewhat. I generally upgrade that ability last. I'll put 1 point in it in case I need it. It's a good thing to have. Silences are kind of rare in this game. Arachne has one and Isis has one, but none of them are as useful as Hades. They're very good for interrupting channel abilities, like Hades is almost a hard counter to Anubis because of his 2, because if Anubis plants down with his 3, you can shut that off instantly. And then you only have to deal with the damage from his hands, or possibly his ultimate, but it can interrupt any channeled ability. A channel ability is one that takes place over time, like Anubis' Locusts. I can't think of another one off the top of my head. Ares' Fire from his shield, you can shut that down with his 2. Yeah. And its extra ability when the enemy bladed, as you probably saw earlier, is that they are feared for however long the duration of the silence is. This fear is somewhat special. They just walk forward, hands up in the air, screaming, in the direction that they were facing. It can be very useful when chasing people. You get them bladed and you fear them, and they'll actually go a lot slower. And this is also a good move. It is Hades CC. It's what makes him a tank. It's very, very useful. It's got a wide range of opportunities. It interrupts channeled abilities. What I like to do is if, like, say Odin pops up and he's either trying to ult you or hit you with his, I think it's his 3. I forget what his spinning move is. And he pops up there, and as soon as he lands, bam, hit him with Shroud of Fear, and he'll just be standing there not being able to do anything. and you and your lane partner can wail on him. It's a great counter to any sort of rush. Like, even other Hades, if they rush up, you can just hit them with Shroud of Fear. They won't know what to do. Another little useful thing is that, you know, when you fear people, they walk forward, and that can be very useful. Something I like to do on low levels is I'll fear them into a tower, so they'll take like one hit. During low levels, one hit is a lot, so that's pretty useful. And even in late game, you can make people walk into very dangerous territory. Like, you can make them accidentally walk into the fire giant or something. One of my favorite moments with Hades' Fear is that I made someone walk into Ymir's ult and they died. I was just like, oh, best support ever. So, yeah, that's about everything I have written down for a Shroud of Fear. Very useful disruption. I've saved a lot of people with this. If someone's chasing, this move will just mess up their plans. Because if they rush forward and they can't do anything but basic attack, chances are they're not going to have a lot of options. But yeah, that went pretty quickly actually. It obviously doesn't do any damage, it's just a silence and a fear. So let's move on to his 3. Devour souls. This is my personal favorite. This is your money maker. This is your big move. What he'll just do, I call it his ground pound a lot, so if I mention ground pound, that's Devour souls. What you do is you'll just rush up and send out a wave of energy. But as you see, you'll also get healed. And, well, if they're bladed, you'll get healed. That's the extra effect. Normally, it will just do damage. And it does a decent amount of damage. I forget exactly. I didn't write it down. It'll do 215 at max rank. Well, what's very special with this is that it is so useful coupled with Blight, your passive. Because with your passive, enemies affected by Blight and hit with your 3, they will explode. Not like instant death explode. They will explode for a small amount of damage in the surrounding area. The radius of that is like 20 feet, which is actually pretty large. But it can really help. Like, say, you know, someone's pushed your lane and they've got like 6 or 7 archers. Even at like level 10 or 11, you can just take them out with your dig and then your ground pound. It's great. Now, as you've noticed, you also get healed. The heal is significantly less. It only takes 15% of your magic power. It's already less than the actual damage, but it's very useful in helping you sustain. Off of just archers, you can get, I'd say, anywhere from 10 to 20% health. If you get a full minion wave, like you get them all around you and you use that, you'll probably clear the wave instantly and get like 30 to 35% health. It's very useful. It's a very good move. It's a very powerful move. It gives you crazy sustain. And the best part is that it can heal your teammates too. Obviously, they don't always want to rush up and kill the minions with you, but if they need help, just tell them, hey, stay behind me, I'm going to heal. This will help out a lot. I mean, one of my favorite lanes is a Hades Afro lane, just because the sustain is so crazy on it. But yeah. Yeah, so his wave clear combo, if I haven't explained it already, it's going to be a 1-3. I don't have any magical power items, and he doesn't gain any passively because he's classified as a support tank, but if I had any, that wave would be so dead. And it's so effective with more minions, like I said. It's just so useful. It's a very fun move to use. Always try to have your enemies blighted when you use it. As I've said before, your 1 applies blight. But you can just hit them with staff attacks. If your 1's on cooldown, then just ground pound real quick. I tend to get this ability second. It's very useful. One thing I forgot to mention about Shroud of Fear. Well, it's just about a mechanic of Blight in general. You'll notice that they're blighted now, but after I use Shroud of Fear, they'll be feared, but then the blight disappears. That's called consuming. Hit this middle guy. And so if you rush up Shroud of Fear people and then do the ground pound, you won't get any heals off them, which you probably want those heals. So don't be just like 1, 2, 3, boom. Just be like 1, 3, and if you really need to fear someone, just smack them with a basic attack, then hit them with 2. Very useful. History also consumes blight, so yeah. Alright, that's about everything for his 3. Let's move on to his ultimate, and it's called Pillar of Agony. Now, this is a very powerful ultimate. At base, without the extra benefit from blight, it can do 880 damage. Now that's a lot. The thing is, though, I'll show it in just a second. Anybody with a leap or a dash can walk out of it. or any sort of, if they have CC immunity anywhere in their kit or a leap or a dash, they can get out of it just naturally. Otherwise, they can just buy Aegis and beads. Now, a lot of times, I still find that works. I really only play casual games though, so people aren't super competitive. I've had games where people don't buy beads when I play as Ares, which is about the worst mistake you can make when playing against Ares. Yeah, I'll show it to you now. The extra benefit from Blight is that the enemy will they will lose protections. This is Pillar of Agony. You will become static, you will fly up in the air, you will have CC immunity, you will gain protections, and you'll just do damage for 4 seconds. They will also be pulled closer to you. One of the best plays of the day I ever saw was an assault where Hades, dug up, used his fort, drew all of them to the center of him, and then Ra used his ult to kill all 5 of them. Instant pentakill. Deicide right off the bat. It was beautiful. I wasn't a Hades there. But if you're a Bruiser, even if they're only in there for 1 or 2 seconds, they'll still take a good deal of damage. When they're bladed, they'll lose protections. It's kind of low, but it does 8 ticks of damage, so that'll add up over time. With the blade debuff, they will take, what did I write down? 1,120 damage, and that's without any additional magic power. 35% of Hades' magical power is applied to his ultimate, so that can be if you're playing as a Bruiser, even if they're only in it for 2 seconds, it can do a lot of damage. If they're stuck in there the whole time, they're going to take a lot of damage. If you're playing as a tank, what you're mainly going to use this for is disruption. Just getting in there, messing up people's plans. If they can't get out, perfect. If they're a low mobility mage, like, say, Poseidon, who doesn't have natural CC immunity, or Anubis, or Zhonghui especially. Well, actually, he has CC immunity on his ult, Zhonghui does, but just low mobility mages like that, this can really destroy them, especially if you have Spear the Magus and the Protections debuff. It can do a lot of damage. It's very useful. As tank ADs though, you mainly want to, if people rush, just use your ultimate, little area of denial, get them out of there, do some damage, basically just force them to retreat. I want to mention this now. Build-wise, a nice little trick to use with Hades' ultimate, and I never actually done this. I stole it from Pinkie but I can just, I hope I said his name right. I can just tell it's a really good idea. When you use your ultimate, people will focus you because you're standing still or doing damage. They want to take you out, and it's kind of a good opportunity because you're not moving for 4 seconds. You gain protections, but if they focus you, you might be dead. And a nice little trick to help, counteract that is buying Static Shard. And Static Shard, it's a variant of the Shard active. It's not that useful except in big team fighty places like Assault or Arena, in which case still it charges on the build really fast. But Static Shard, what it does is when you activate it, I'm not sure if it heals you or not. I'm sorry, I haven't looked into that. But it will reflect, at max charges, I believe it reflects 15% of the damage done to you. So if you rush up, you pop Static Shard, you rush up there and use your ultimate, people will focus you. They'll be taking damage from the ultimate, and they'll also be taking damage from attacking you, which is just great. It's a really nice trick. You can also use Hades' ultimate to save people, because like I said, it is a pool. People will be drawn to the center, and even if you catch someone on the very, very edge, they'll take full damage, and they won't be able to get out of it. Not even if they have a speed boost, I think. I've caught out Kwongs before, but when they used their Slither, but I had Gem of Isolation and Creeping Curse. Yeah, I mean, you can use it as a save. If a low health ally is being chased, just rush up, just dig up in front of them, and just pop your ultimate. Most of the time, they'll be too focused on chasing to be like, oh, I need to get out of there. And their leap or dash will probably be on cooldown because they've already used it trying to chase the other person. You'll deal a good deal of damage to the person chasing your ally because they can't get out, and that will either make it so you can turn the chase around into a 2-on-1, or at the very worst, your ally will get away. Or, well, at the very worst, your ally will die, but you'll probably get a kill. At the very worst, they get away and not die at all. But I think that's about it. Just if you're trying to land his ult is really easy to get out of. That's why Hades has in a competitive play. His ult's just so easy to counteract. It's best counteracted with Aegis, because even if you use Purification Beats, you still take a damage, and it's a lot of damage. Yeah, that's why Hades is in a competitive play. Just a way to avoid being Purification Bead or Aegis countered. Get CDR and use it once, and they'll blow their Aegis and their Purification Beads, and then as soon as it comes back, just boom, get up there, use it soon as you can, so they can't really get out of it. But that's really the only way to combat Aegis or Purification Beads. Just get it under the cooldown. Sorry about that. Talking for 15 straight minutes is wearing me out. Yeah, that's the only way you can combat beads or Aegis, really. I mean, you do the same thing with Ares if you're trying to land his ult, So alright, I think that's everything about his abilities I have written down. Yeah, just with his... Well, one last thing about his ultimate, just general. If the enemy has a leap, wait for it to go on cooldown before using your ultimate, because you'll have a lot better chance of getting them. Because even if they have beads and their leap, they may be like, oh, I'm in his ultimate. And they won't, and they'll try to leap out, but that'll be on cooldown, and they'll just be stuck in it. People make mistakes, and a Hades ultimate can cause people to panic, because it's pretty deadly if you use it right. So yeah, Hades. If you're playing him as tank, he's all about disruption. If you're playing him as Bruiser, he's all about damage. Just quick ability level. Get your 1 first so you have an escape, especially if there's an enemy arachnid, just to get out of stuff faster. Then get your 3 so you can clear waves. Get your 2 just in case you need it. If you're using it a lot, put another point in it maybe later, but I'd generally upgrade it last. Get your ultimate as soon as you can, level 5. And then, if you're using it a lot, put a point into it at 9. If you're not really using it a lot, feel free to put a point into your 1 or a 3, or even in your 2. I mean, if it's not helping you out at all, don't put points into it. So alright, that's his abilities. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. Slow on his 1. Yep. Alrighty then. Now, let's move on to items. Let me get my items all set up, and I'll be right back. Hang on just a second. Alright, we're back, and I've got to start the tank Hades build up. Arc of the Vanguard. This is optional if you're in 3v3 joust or anything, but in Conquest it really helps out in the early game just because of its passive. It just flat off takes 5 damage out. It helps so much. The physical protection, the protections from and the health are just great. It's a good item to have as a tank if you're starting out. It's not necessary, but it's something I like to get. You can always sell it later. And if you're playing as a tank, you definitely want Greaves. The root of a character is the shoes. That's how I've always viewed it. And if you're playing tank Hades, you want reinforced Greaves. Now, the alternative to reinforced Greaves is plated Greaves. They give you less speed, the stats are the same, but the passive is all damage taken is reduced by 5%. And that sounds nice. Because, I mean, listen to this, 30% reduction to all crowd control durations. That also sounds really nice, but the 5% damage reduction sounds alluring. There's never really a circumstance where you want plated Greaves. Like, say you get hit by Poseidon's Kraken, and it does 1,000 damage. Would you rather take 50 less damage than that? Would you rather be stunned for, I don't know, I can't do 30% of 2. Would you rather be stunned for a considerable amount less? I'd rather be stunned less. In the long run, the extra, that clock. In the long run, the extra speed on these shoes and the crowd control reduction will save you a lot more damage than the 5% duration will, and they're less expensive. And the extra speed boost while you're not in combat, that'll help you rotate, that'll help you retreat, it just helps everything. Next item. This is the little core build I have here. After this, I'll just go through situational stuff. Voidstone. If you're playing a magical character, you want to get this item. It's just so good. There's no reason not to get it. It gives you power, it gives you protection, and it gives you penetration. There's no reason not to get this. In general, since we're playing tank Hades, I wanted regular Voidstone to help out teammates. If you get Focus Voidstone, you yourself will deal more damage, but it won't help out teammates. With this, it just lowers their magical protection of enemies within 55 feet by 15. That's like, if an ally is hitting that, it's like you're giving that ally plus 15 penetration to that enemy, sort of. Because that's how penetration works. It just flats out, takes away defense. You could go focused if you want. It's not a big deal, but if you're playing a big team fight mode like Assault or Arena, you probably definitely want to get this. Unless someone else has it. You just want one person to get regular Voidstone, and everyone else can get focused. But this is a core item on pretty much every mage. No reason not to get it. I should have upgraded my favorites to work with this. They're so out of date. I haven't used them in forever. But yeah, moving on. We'll just go over defense items. We'll go over physical first, because physical is just so much better. A really good one to get early on is Breastplate of Valor. Hades isn't really mana hungry early on, but it's just the extra mana helps. I'd buy it Meditate on pretty much every god I play, just 250 at the beginning. If I ever run out of mana later on, I can just hit Meditate, don't have to worry about it. Some people don't really like that, they're like, I waste an active slot, there can be a lot of better stuff there, and I guess so, but a lot of games, I don't use actives that much. I got way off base there. So Breastplate of Valor, very good. It gives you a lot of physical protection, so even if there's only 2, this would be worth picking up just for the passive. Your ability cooldowns are reduced by 25%. His cooldowns are kind of long. They're all over 10 seconds. The lowest is, I believe, 11. So 25% cooldown will help a lot. Especially if you got tank boots, you're not get the CDR from, Boots of Focus, so this will help a lot. It's a very good item. I highly recommend picking up. Extra mana will help you sustain, help you fight better, sword protection, and the CTR just helps everything. Okay, moving on. Another very good physical protection item is Mystical Mark. It gives you health, very good. Not a lot of counters to health in this game, so it always helps. And physical protection, plus 60. That's a decent amount. It's kind of expensive. It's 2850. Breastplate of Valor is pretty cheap. It's 2300. But I really like is its passive. It deals 40 magical damage per second to enemies within 25 feet. And I know you guys can read. I'm just saying it out loud to help me. But if you're getting crowded a lot or you're crowding them a lot, this can be a deterrent to stop them from crowding you. It can make them push back. The damage just adds up a lot over time. And if you're pushing minions, you can just stand in the middle of them. They'll take a good deal of damage. It really helps a lot. Late game, it can be kind of negligible. Well, not really negligible, but it'll add up pretty quickly because it's per second. And I'm not sure it's per second because it seems like it pulses out faster. I'll buy that real quick just so you can see the effect that goes with it. Can't really see it. You might notice like a little pulse on the edge. I'll go to a green spot so you can see it. Yeah, that's a lot more visible. This redness pulsing out for me, that does 40 magical damage to every enemy within its radius. It's really helpful. It makes people back off. People will think twice about just like getting up in your face. It's a good deterrent. It's just a good item overall. Very good magical protection, physical protection I mean, item as I like is Wall of Absolution. If you're going to hit by a basic attack block, like say from an Artemis or an Apollo, any ADC really, this can give you up to an extra 105 protection. Because what it does is that whenever you get hit by a basic attack, it gives you plus 15 physical protection for 5 seconds. At max stacks, that's a plus 105. And as a bonus, you get magical power and mana regeneration. It's really helpful. It's pretty cheap. It's a good early game item. I like buying it. I mean, plus 105 physical protection that pretty early on. It's very useful. If you have this Mark of the Vanguard, a lot of times you will be immune to minion damage, which doesn't really matter, but it's pretty cool. It's just cool because you're being shot and you just see immune. You're just that tanky. It's cool. And yeah, this is a counter to get basic attackers, any sort, ranged or otherwise. Mystical Mark is more of a counter to like melee assassins like Kali or Loki, really. Not really Loki, I guess, but another very good physical protection item, Hide of the Nemean Lion. They nerfed it a little, but it's very cheap. You get plus 80 physical protection, plus 200 health. It's almost the best. Actually, I think there is one that gives you higher physical protection. I don't know what though. I heard someone say, I don't know. It might give you the highest physical protection in the game, and the passive is very useful. It also gives you health, and it's so cheap. It's 2250. And it reflects 20% of all basic attack damage back to the attacker as magical damage. One of my favorite moments is SMITE is when I had this item, and I outleveled this Loki that attacked me. But still, I just wore... he uses waving. Well, like, he ganked me, and he just kept wailing on me. And because I had Hide of the Nemean Lion, he just kept taking damage. I would use my 1 and 3 whenever they came back. And eventually, I just killed him. And that was so good. I felt so good that I, a tank, could just wear down this assassin attacking me and eventually kill him. What people will often do to counteract this is lifesteal, which it's still a useful item. It still just gives you so much physical protection, so much health, pretty cheap. If you really need physical protection early on, if you're really just getting wailed on by basic attacks, by this, it'll make him back off. Um, Sovereignty, it's also, oh, it is physical protection. It's a very good item as well. It also helps the team. It gives plus 450 health, very nice, very good. It gives plus 65 physical protection, which is nice. But the best part about it is that it gives an aura that you are also affected by. It gives you plus 20 protections, both magical and physical. Wow, that's off the charts there. Um, and it'll just help your team presence in a fight. Everyone will be taking less damage, including you. With this, you have plus 85 physical protection. Yeah, this is the one that has more than the Nemean. That's what that is. Because you're affected by this passive as well. So that's just crazy amount of defense. I have a lot of magical defense. I don't know why. Very good physical protection item. That's all the ones I had written down, but I'll just go over it real quick. Hided Leviathan. If for some reason you didn't buy reinforced greaves or you sold them for some reason, this will give you the same effect, but with more defense, more health, and more mana. The reason you don't see a lot is because you just really want that movement speed from boots, you know? And it's a little expensive, not really, but it gives you more protection, more health, and mana. So essentially, it's like a better form of boots stats-wise, but you don't get the speed boost, which you kind of want that. Yeah, that's all the physical protection items I had written down. My Guardian Mail. I don't really use this item a lot. I don't think it's really a very good item. Just because if it always slowed them down when people attack you, it might be useful, but there's only a 30% chance. And it's cheap, but why just not get Nemeans for the same price? It gives you more. Well, it gives you more protection, less health, and much better passive. Witchstone, not something you really consider. Yeah, it basically gives you physical protection plus movement and attack speed, which, that can be nice. Hades isn't really a basic attacker at all. But enemies within 55 feet will have their attack speed and physical power reduced, so, that's not really something you get. So alright, moving on. I'll sell these, and we'll move on to magical protection items. This is just a core build, so I'll add magical items as I go. One of my favorite magical protection items is Stone of Gaia, just because it gives you so much sustain. This will often be like, yeah, I saw my star items pretty early, so this will be my third item, and once I get it, especially as tanks, like true tanks like Ymir and Hades and Athena and Sobek, it's like you don't have to go back, ever. Like, if you have Meditate in this item, you have so much sustain. You never have to go back to base. It is at points where, like, I really want to go back, but I'm just out there doing everything. I can't really afford it. I'm just helping everybody. Like, 4k gold to spend. I'm like, I really want to go spend this, but nope. Can't do it. It's passive what it does. You regenerate 2% of your max health every 5 seconds. If you have a large health pool, which you kind of want to aim towards that, it's a very good defensive measure. It will help a lot, and it just helps with sustain because 2% not a lot, but it builds up over time, and this gives you a lot of passive health regeneration and magic regeneration. HP, I can't click on it, but HP 5 is passive health regeneration. That's plus 25. I think that applies, I believe, every tick. I don't know where the name HP 5 comes from. It gives you a really good deal of magical protection, and you know what? This item is pretty cheap. It's got a high starting price, 835, but after that it's like 600, 800 again. Large price gaps, but very good item. Favorite item. Favorite magical protection item, easily. As you can see, there's literally 7. Can't buy 1. Greaves is 1. Mark of the Vanguard is 1. Had Leviathan 1, and that's not really a magical protection item. That's not really a magical protection item at all. It's just kind of like a weird boots thing, pseudo boots. So the only other one is, I'll just buy this. The only other one is Bulwark of Hope. Probably the other best magical protection item in the game. It gives you 450 health, 60 magical protection. It's a lot of health. It'll help you out a lot. And if you're getting bursted down a lot, once you go up 25% health, you'll get this shield around you. It's kind of like, it would be really hard to show you. I guess I could sell everything, but no, I don't. It's like this golden cage around you. You'll take 50% less damage for a second. So if you're getting bursted down, that can help. That's kind of like it'll help you get away with that little sliver of health. That's all the magical protection items. I wish you could buy Shield, because Shield is a cool magical protection item, but it gives you physical power, so you can't. I don't know. Kind of wish they'd removed the restriction on Shield, because seriously, with only 7 magical protection items, 2 of them are kind of cop-outs. Yeah, it's weird. That not in a very good state at all. But yeah, other than that, where's Magi's robe? Winged wand, not really useful. We won't go over that. But other miscellaneous items, Magi's Blessing, it absorbs a hard crowd control effect once every 45 seconds, and then you'll gain a moment of CC immunity now. A hard crowd control effect is like a stun. Not sure if Mesmerize fall under that category, but like say Anubis's rap is hard CC. And if that Anubis he's just like hitting you with his rap every second he can, and he's just melting you and you're getting away with like 10% health. Buy this item. It gives a good chunk of health, reduces crowd control reduction, which I believe that stacks with boots, so that's nice. Or maybe it caps at 30%. I honestly forget. But it's really useful in counting hard stuns like Isis's Spirit Ball. Athena's Taunt also falls under this category. Anubis's Rap too. It can just really foil plans. Like, Anubis will like rush forward and like get close and throw his rap at you. And if that doesn't work, then you just have this low mobility mage in your face, and you can just beat him up. It's very nice though. He'll probably just face roll and melt you anyway. Whatever. Moving on. And these are kind of defensive items. I didn't go over Warlock's Sash or Gauntlet to Thebes. Hades Candle stacks, he's decent at it. If you really want to, go for it. It's not something I recommend though. Especially as tank kitties, you're probably better off giving the last hits to your lane partner. And Gauntlet Thebes, Book of Thoth, it just takes a long time. I don't know. It's not something I like to do as Hades anymore. If you want to, by all means, go ahead. Experiment with it, have fun. It's not something I recommend. Now, moving on to like the pseudo-defensive items. Ethereal Staff. Very cool item. Unusual item. What it does is it gives you plus 600 health. A lot. That's a lot. That's the most health you can just buy right off the bat. It gives you 300 mana, which is nice. Plus 30 magical power. Yeah, okay. But the big thing is this. 2% of your maximum health is converted to magical power. And I now have 145 magical power. I'm not even really building health. Granted, 145, Al Kwong players are like, I'm used to 1k magical power. This can just help you boost your attack a lot. Like, if you're late game and you're like, I think I'm good on defense, I'm going to start doing a little bit more damage, grab Ethereal Staff, especially if you grab Warlock Sash or Gauntlet to Thebes, or you're trying to build more health items. Like, you got Sovereignty and Bulwark of Hope, and, you bought a lot of health items. This can really make a difference. Especially if you got Gauntlet to Thebes or Warlock Sash. This will skyrocket. Yeah, that's about it. Let's move on to our hybrid build. I don't really have to cut away for that, so I'll just sell these. This is the core build I always stick with. But the thing is, actually no, we won't go over a hybrid. We'll go to hybrid after we go over the magical Bruiser build. So we're going to sell that. I'm going to keep that. You always want that. It's just so good. Popular items. Now, if you're building magical Bruiser, you want probably Shoes of Focus. If you want, you can get Shoes of Magi. No difference stat-wise, no difference speed-wise. It's just cooldown reduction or magical penetration. This is stronger early game. I like CDR just because Hades has kind of long cooldowns. You want to get this. It's very nice. So I'll grab Shoes of Focus now. As I said, if you're building hybrid and you want to build more tankier than anything, grab Greaves first. If you're building hybrid, you want to build more bruisery than anything, grab Shoes. Magic power boost shoes. In terms of starting items, Vampiric Shroud can work out well. It can give you a good deal of sustain, It's good. Okay, nothing else. I do not recommend Jungle Hades. You're screwing around. Try it. He's got the ability to gank. He can probably clear camps pretty fast. He's good at clearing waves. He's very good at that. So yeah, we'll build Pure Bruiser. I'll buy Shoes of Focus. That's not a hard rule. Then you grab Void Stone. Always want that. I would grab Focus Void Stone if you're building Bruiser, because you personally want to do more damage. Holy crap, this is taking a long time. And then after that, some good items are... They're not in here. Oh. Well, Spear of the Magus is a very good item. It's a magical penetration item, which penetration is good. And what it does is it'll give you flat penetration and a little bit of magical power 40. That's not bad, not really good. But the passive is great. When an enemy is hit by one of your damaging abilities, their magic protections are just flat, reduced by 10, and then they take 10% off of that. And that can get up to 2 stacks. So it can be like minus 20 defense, and then minus 20% of what's left, I think. Oh, I forget what order it goes in, but if you want penetration, this Spear of the Magus is always better than Obsidian Shard for damaging players. If for some reason you want to burn down a tower as basic attack Hades, then grab Obsidian Shard. But there's a chart I might link to in the description. The penetration on Spear of the Magus is almost always better than Obsidian Shard. It's less expensive. You can grab it pretty easy as well. How much is it? 21.50. Look at that, folks. That's a great item. You're going to want to buy that. Ooh, my throat is getting raw. Another item I like to stack on Hades, just in general. And if you play... Shoot, what is it? It was Under Health. Where is Gem of Isolation? No, I spoiled it. Gem of Isolation. What this does, you don't want Gem of Binding, you want Gem of Isolation. It'll give you health mana, good chunk of magical power, 70, that's a good solid number. Enemies hit by your damaging abilities will move 25% slower. Now, that's not a lot, it only lasts 2 seconds, but it can help you, it can help you catch up. It's kind of a support thing, because if an enemy moves slower, everyone has a chance to catch up and just, boom, smack them. But the big thing is that you already have a slow. If you blight them with your basic attack, then hit them with your 1, if it's maxed out, they'll be slowed for 40 just on that. And then if they're hit by Gem of Isolation, they'll be slowed for 65%, and that's a lot. That's a lot. It's a very good ultimate combo. You hit them with blight, you slow them down with Gem of Isolation and Death from Below. And then you hit them with your ultimate. Even if they use Purification Beast to walk out, they'll still take a lot of damage because they can move through it unhit. Actually, I don't know. It seems like people move slower when they're slow and they use Purification Beads. I'm not sure what's up with that. I thought it removed that. I don't know. That's just something I've noticed. Maybe that's a bug. I don't know. But a very useful item. And, like I said, it's a little bit of support. It'll help out your teammates. Ethereal Staff, like I mentioned. That can help if you're building Bruiser and you're like, oh, I need more health. I'm dying too easily. Grab Ethereal Staff. It'll help out a lot with health, which health is pretty much the best defense in this game right now. And it'll help out with magical power a little. It's just a good item. It's a good hybrid item. Not really good if you're building pure one or the other, but yeah. Like I said earlier, Obsidian Shard, if you want that, go for it. Do more. It's pretty cheap now. If you think you can build stacks fast enough, then go for it. This thing can theoretically give you plus 140 magical power. That's more than the base stats on Rata Tahuti. So yeah, that's good. Cronus' Pendant. This is not an item I recommend. It's kind of a crappy item. The only thing about it is that you really need cooldown reduction. I don't know. It gives you 25% CDR, but it gives you kind of crap stats otherwise. It's kind of expensive. You're pretty much always just buying, Breastplate of Valor. Because, you could always do it for a little defense. And if you really want more power, you don't want any defense, you can go Chronos' Pendant. Not something I recommend, though. If you're playing against tank KDs and there's not an Ares on the team, if there's an Ares on the team, always try to save the aura items for him. Just because he needs them more. You can buy Pythagorean's Beast. Where to go? Very useful item. Gives you a nice bit of magical power, mana. Magical lifesteal is okay. I'm not a big fan of it. But it gives allies plus 20 magical power and plus 10 magical lifesteal to all allies within 70 feet. That's a pretty big radius. It can help out a lot. So, if I'm kind of just going over items in general. Yeah. Very cool item. But if you're playing as Bruiser Hades, you want Rata Tahuti. This is just the king magical power item. No way around it, really. It just does so much damage. And the passive is just, what? The passive is it increases your current magical power by 25%. And if you're playing tank Hades, you're like, I need more oomph. by Ratatouille. You'll probably double your magical power, at least. Like, it's crazy. Polynomicom, Demonic Grip, not stuff I recommend. Hades is not AA focused at all. He's ability focused, so not really stuff you want to buy. You could buy this. I mean, if you just want to use it and then smack them with a basic attack, I mean, it could help. Also boost your tower pushing a little bit. Not like I never do this on Hades. If you're experimenting, if you're head, you want to experiment, yeah, you can buy this. Demonic Grip, never really a reason to buy this. I mean, I don't know. You can if you want. Hades just moves so slow because he's a tank. I'm not sure why you would try to hit him with basic attacks. Soul Reaver, okay item. If you have to choose between this and Ratatouille, like you already bought something else, like say you already bought Obsidian Shard because you wanted more penetration, help wear down towers, just more penetration overall. If you have to choose between this and Ratatouille, pick Ratatouille. You'll end up doing more damage. This is an unusual item. I haven't really experimented with it. It can be brutal one-on-one because it can add a good chunk of damage on top, but not something I've really experimented with. Never actually built it on Hades. I've built on other people, but not on Hades. If you want to, go for it, experiment with it. If it works, go for it. If not, drop it. Bancroft's Talon, decent magical item, cheap, gives you plus 100 magical power, and it's got a cool passive. Now, this passive is kind of more useful with Hades, because you gain more magical power per percent of your missing health. Mithril health. Oh. So like if you're at 50% health, you'll get plus 150 magical power from this item. That's kind of a lot, especially with Hades. You're so durable, you can kind of tolerate going low on health. So even if you're at like 30% and they're at 40%, you'll probably have the same amount of health, and your magical power will be boosted a lot more about this. The magical lifesteal will help with your sustain when you heal off your 3, so that can work. But this is a decent item overall, cheap, little chunk of magical power. Well, that's pretty much everything I had written down for, smashing Hades. Divine Ruin. Whew, wow, Divine Ruin is cheap. This is actually a good item. I don't know why I didn't mention it for tank Hades, because it is more of a support item than anything. If the enemy team has like a Shanghai and an Aphrodite and a Hell, the healer team, buy this item. It's really cheap. Buy it early on, like make it your 3rd or 4th item. Just drop 1820 on it. Not bad. And if you're the tank, or even if you're the Bruiser, all of Hades' abilities are AoE, so you'll probably be hitting a lot of people with your ability. This will help reduce their healing significantly over the whole team. Very good counter to healing. People don't use it a lot. It's kind of unpopular item because the stats are not meh, but it's so cheap. Just look at it. If they have healers, buy it. It'll help out a lot, guys, I promise. I play Aphrodite a lot. When people buy Divine Ruin, I get mad because I can't heal as easily. It just really nerfs the effectiveness. Obsidian Shard, I already talked about this. Kind of cheap, just magical power penetration. You want to? Sure, pick it up. Want more penetration overall. It's good. It's not a terrible item at all. But yeah, I already talked about Book of Thoth, Warlock Sash. I think that might actually take us to the end. I don't see anything new here that I really forgot. Oh, you're going to want Jotun's Wrath. No, can't even buy that. I'll just look through here real quick. Wall of Absolution gives you magical power, So, I don't know. Let's say I buy Bancroft's Talon as my last item. Or Divine Ruin. So this is what I would call kind of a weird Bruiser build. Kind of little supporty, Definitely a little more supporty, but let's just go a hybrid build. And I won't explain the items. I've already done that. We'll just go like a hybrid build built towards more bruisery. So bruisery, you want to start at the bottom. You want to start with magic power shoes. Then after that, you're going to want Void Stone, just super, super good item. You can see it's at the top of the list, which is kind of weird. You think shoes would be, or some sort of boot would be. If you're building Bruiser, you probably want just flat out magical penetration for you, not necessarily for the whole team. Someone else will probably pick up regular Void Stone, though. You want to check. Then after that, this is hybrid, so Spear of the Magus, it doesn't seem like it, but it reduces the enemy's defense. And if it reduces their offense, that means everybody can do more damage to them. And then after that, health is obviously the best way to find Gem of Isolation. That's also kind of a, it's a kind of a supporty effect. And then you might want to buy a defense item. And if you only have to buy one defense item, it's tough to choose. Well, I can narrow it down to 3. You want to buy Bulwark of Hope if you're getting bursted down by a magic a lot. You want to buy Sovereignty if you're ending up in team fights a lot. You want to boost your whole team. Very good item for physical protection and a little bit of magical protection. Or you want to buy Stone of Guide just for that incredible magical protection and sustain. Oh, it's just so good. I cannot recommend it highly enough if you're a tank player. So, actually it's not under here. So we'll buy Stone of Gaia. And then I try to make my 5th item Rod of Tahuti just because I want that magical power boost as fast as I can. You can make it your last item though. Rod of Tahuti. I think that's how you say it. So, and that'll be it. That'll cap off a hybrid Bruiser kind of supporty build with a little bit of defense, Oh shoot, I forgot to say actives. Actives, what can I say? I normally buy Meditate. Actives are pretty much all situational. They have an Ares by Purification Beads. That's just so important. We're getting bursted down a lot. If I have an enemy Hades or something, buy Aegis. Aegis can be useful overall. It's only got a 120 second cooldown. I thought it was 90. Meditate, that's something I just always buy on pretty much every god. Because there's almost always a point in a game where I'm just out there on the field. I run out of mana. I'm like, oh, if I had more mana, I could attack. Just hit F. Actually use meditation. Just use meditation. Boom, you're done. But one that actually works very well with Hades is Creep and Curse because it slows them down. It also reduces their healing. And Feeling Curse, that's something I've only used against Speedy Chronos to try to slow them down. Didn't work. I hate Speedy Chronos. No way to counter him. No way! But Creep and Curse, it's a good support item overall. It slows down everybody. Everyone can do more damage to them. It'll keep them in your ultimate longer if they don't dash out or anything. Well, it won't keep them in your ultimate longer. It'll make them easier to catch. That's what I mean. And another little trick to use with your ultimate, I already said this, Spiked Shell. Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say? Stack it? Oh, actually, you can either use Static Shard, which will reflect damage just from you back to the attacker. So when you use your ultimate, you can pop that. The only thing with Shard is that you practically required to be in Assault or Arena because it just takes a long time to build charges, which the way Shard works, what it has here, it reflects 0.5 damage plus the same amount per charge for 6 seconds. If you use it with no charge, it would practically be worthless. But with 30 charges on it plus the original base, 29 charges plus the original base, it would reflect 15% of damage. So that could work. It's a pretty cheap item. It's got a really short cooldown. If you want something more reliable, get Spiked Shell. It only reflects 10% of damage. Oh. No, I'm telling you about the damage reflection because if you use your ult, people will focus you, as I said earlier. I mentioned this when I was talking about his ult too. Buy Spiked Shell, and it'll go for all of his allies. Anywhere, apparently. I thought I was in a radius. And you'll just reflect damage back to them. And it could be a really cool effect. I've never done it myself. I got the tip from Pinkie Pie. I hope I said his name right before, so I've never tried it myself. That clock. Wow, this is a super long tutorial. I guess I just have a lot to say about Hades. He's just so tasty. Yeah, okay, I think that's actually it. Consumables, I always just buy 2 health, 2 mana, Warding is important, I've never done something. I've seen people buy this at the beginning as like a cheap little buff. I guess that works. That's a cool idea. I saw an Arachnoid go like 10-0 with that today, so that could work. But yeah, good actives on Hades. Meditation can be useful if you think it's gonna be short matches. Pop meditation, Creep and Curse is probably more important than Shell. Yeah, you can do Enfeebling Curse too if you want. Well, whatever floats your boat. They'll both slow the same amount. Creep and Curse, it reduces their healing by 25% for the duration, and Enfeebling Curse reduces their attack speed by 30% for the duration. So, if you want to take less damage while you ult, use Enfeebling Curse, I guess. Otherwise than that, they're identical. So, I just stick with Creep and Curse out of habit. Enfeebling Curse is probably better for the purpose of Hades ult. Yep, they're identical. Oh, actually, healing is reduced by 50%. Yeah, cooldown's the same. So, hello, old socks. Wow, guys. Sorry, I just talked your ear off there. Yeah, I made that as good as I could. I don't think I missed anything, but yeah, alright, well, this is already 52 minutes long. We might as well recap with a TL. Too long, didn't read at the end. Hades, not really a ranked pick. Sorry if you watch this video thinking, yes, I'm going to rank and just destroy. His ult is easily countered. Other than that, he's pretty good. Oh, I'm moving speedily. His movement speed is really slow at the beginning. You never really saw that because I leveled up right away, but it's like, you feel like a tank just like moving slow, indomitable, Lord of the Dead, as I run around on the edge of the fountain like a little kid. Oh no, I fell in. No. I'm alright, so that's everything I had to say. Hey, he's not a ranked pick. They're going to rank like, no, I can't told my head is the best god ever, guys, we're gonna win. But yeah, alright, this is the official end of the tutorial. I'm just gonna go have some fun. Let's go kill Raw. If you guys kind of want to see a demonstration of power, just look at this. Raw can't get out of it because he's a stupid bot, so this is what we'll do. We'll hit him with our Blight to slow him down as he tries to run away. And then we'll pop our ultimate. See, look at that damage. Dead. Dead so quickly. Hades can do a good gank with that. You know, you rush in, you hit them with your wand, so they get reduced protections from your ult. It's just great. Bliss. Alright, what can we do next? Fire Giant? Let's take him. Actually, we're mainly Bruiser. I don't know. Screw it, let's do it. Who cares if we die? Yeah, I'm not going to say anything serious more, but yeah, look at that. Most of his damage actually does come in from his 3 in that 1-3 combo. So, look at that, we're doing 100 damage in auto attack. Yeah. So let's pop it there. Poof. Wow, we're kind of taking a lot of damage. 4. Why am I healing by 4 and then sometimes 5? Okay, probably gonna die. This would have been easier if we came in with our ultimate, to be honest. Actually, no, we're gonna kill him. Alright, so Hades can solo Fire Giant. New discovery. Hades can solo Fire Giant. Alright, guys, I think I'm done. Oh, shoot, I forgot to go over Compost for his abilities. Oh, well, that's something you guys can live without. So, alright, if you actually watched this point through the whole video, good job. Wow. Very surprised you watched 54 minutes of me talking. Wow, hey, I started exactly at 8 because it's 8:54 now. But alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe, anything to show your appreciation. It just helps so much. But alright, I'm Blockity, and I'll see you next time. Hades waved as I said goodbye. Alright, goodbye for reals, guys. Goodbye for reals, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.